Welcome to the Conceive, Believe, and Achieve podcast, Wrestling with Goals. We just added that part there because I thought that's appropriate. People wrestle with goals, but they also set goals in wrestling as well. Today's guest, we have all the way from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club, Owen Martin. How are
Thank
you,
you for
Owen?
having thank you for having me, man. I'm good.
Great. I got a hold of you on social media there on your Instagram, I believe. Um, I was looking at who won the national championships, the U23 National Championships, and on the Canada Wrestling website, and your name was there. But then I found out more. I found out that you were the outstanding wrestler. Tell me a little bit about that experience for you, the national tournament. Um, just passed.
Man, it was awesome, but to be honest with you, that's the kind of thing we expect. I mean, we train super hard, right? So you expect to achieve those goals and stuff like that. But it
Mhm.
was it was it was good to be recognized, for all the hard work.
Mhm. You said that there's an expectation. Who sets those expectations?
Uh, well, kind of myself. I like to hold myself to a super high standard, but me and my coaches as well, we hold our athletes to high standards here. Because we got guys in the room like we got Amardesi, we got Nishan Randawa, all these guys, all these Olympians and stuff, right? So success is kind of just expected when you're training alongside guys like that.
Yeah, it's I guess when you're wrestling with Olympians in your room,
Yeah,
you're gonna get better, right? You're gonna
yeah,
I
you
always
have to.
say better.
You have to. You have no choice. It's either you get better or you get beat up every day.
And you're trying to get better. You don't want to get beat up.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be the nail forever. I'm trying to be the hammer.
All right, well, let's talk about how it began for you in the sport of wrestling. How did you discover it? And yeah, let's just talk about that.
Well, my dad got me into wrestling from a super young age. I was like around 9, I think, because my dad used to wrestle in high school. So he got me into wrestling, and we started training in my garage way back in the day, and then it just took off from there. We train every day.
The garage setting, that sounds like
Yeah,
the basement of Stu Hart.
yeah.
Um, Describe some of those beatings with dad.
Yeah, no, he put definitely a lot of time and effort and money into coaching me in our garage. He built it himself. We had everything. We had 3 mats, we had bags, we had chin up bar, everything homemade. So it was real dungy like Rocky style. But yeah, no, he would take me there every day. We'd wrestle around for like an hour and then beat me up, coach me up a little bit.
And was it frustrating at times?
Uh yeah, from a young age because you don't really understand like what it how you're supposed to like what it takes really to be good. Like you don't really get it. You just kind of want to have fun and do fun things. But once you kind of get an understanding of it, everything works out and makes sense.
Well, I can see there's a little bit of a parallel in my life and your life. My father was my wrestling coach, so there were beatings. But and I mean, I'm joking about the beatings.
Yeah.
There was wrestling, at my household for from a young age. I don't know what age you started at. We probably started at he was timing us, when we were on our bikes around how fast we could go around the block.
Oh yeah.
I think our training started that young, maybe 4 or 5 years old. As soon as we could put our shoes on and walk about, he started already from there. But um, it was his sport before, and you entered it. I know from my experience entering into a sport where my dad had done so well, it was a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Did you have any of those feelings?
The funny thing is, I wasn't intimidated. I wanted to take it head on because I wanted to be better than him. Every time I would win a tournament starting out, I would ask my dad, like, you think I'm better than you now? And he'd be like, no, no, no. But every time I would win a little local tournament, I'd be like, oh, I'm better than you. I could beat you if we were the same age. So it was more of a challenge, and I kind of tried to take it head on, I would say.
Yeah. Sorry, what's your dad's name?
Jamie. Jamie Martin. Yeah.
Jamie Martin, and
Yeah.
he wrestled back in what years?
I don't know. I think the 80s, around that, 80s,
Okay.
90s.
And did
Yeah,
he
he's
wrestle
like he's just
for?
high school. He was just a high school wrestler.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he wrestled in Ontario. He wrestled the OFSA and all that in the nationals, but he never wrestled post high school. He didn't really. For him, he didn't have the financial support and the help, right? So it was tough for him. I'm
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the support you're getting now financially for because it's been historically, and I can tell you just from my dad's experiences, historically, the funding for wrestling has been uh, horrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get no funding right now because I'm not a target athlete, but my dad, I'm very lucky to have a dad that supports me like the way he does. He takes care of everything for me. I live with him. He sends me on trips and he pays for pretty much everything, right? But he just lets me train and focus full time. So it makes things definitely a lot easier when you don't have to work every day and focus on training as well and balance things, right? So no, I'm very lucky that he helps me out with everything.
Glad to hear that. I'm not glad to hear that you're not getting any financial support elsewhere, but I'm glad to hear that your father is supporting you. You know, I have kids, and I can tell you, because of the void in my life growing up, whether it was financial support or getting the right training in various sports, I've gone, far beyond what I've needed to. Uh, I traveled to Michigan to go down to swim camps. I'm 250 pounds. I don't belong in a swimming pool, but I take my daughter to swim camps and befriended some of the coaches down at the University of Michigan. I take my this weekend. I'm taking my kid down to University of Buffalo football camp as well. So I want to say big shout out to your dad for supporting you and getting you to the places that you want to go because this is your dream. I'm assuming he saw a passion um, in you and the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I know yeah, big shout out to him. He's number one MVP. He always helps me out. He's my number one supporter. He always believes in me, win or lose. So big ups to him. Really appreciate him.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to talk about the tournament, the U23 tournament. That's a qualifier. So it's big status here. That's the best in Canada. Your weight
Yeah.
class is what?
I wrestled 79 kilos.
79 kilos. So you're a little lighter than me. I'm up in the hundreds somewhere. Did you have to cut weight? And if you did, was it tough?
This time not really. I cut from like 82 kilos, but that's still, I guess, a cut. But the previous nationals, well, which were maybe like 3 or 4 months before that, I wrestled 74 kilos, right? So
Mhm.
that was a really big cut. I cut from like 83 kilos to 74. So 79 kilos was nothing. It was easy for me. But it was crazy though, because I've kind of been all over the place with my weight classes. Because last under 23 trials, I won the 86 kilo weight class, but I only weighed like 83 kilos, so had to come back down to 79 and try to wrestle at like a proper weight class where I'm around that weight for the worlds and like stuff like that. But yeah, no, like it wasn't that tough of a cut. I just had to diet for like 2 days.
Yeah. And sorry, for those people that don't have any experience in wrestling, we're talking about cutting weight. What did you put yourself through this time around?
This time around, I mean, like I just ate clean for like a week, drank a bunch of water, water loaded, and then the day before we went out and saunaed for like maybe 40 minutes. So I did like two 20-minute intervals with a 5 minute break in between, and then I was on weight. It was pretty easy.
Mhm.
Usually it's a lot more rigorous, but this time it came off pretty easy.
And did anybody teach you how to cut weight, or is there any guidelines that you've been following? Because years back, I know the University of Michigan had a weight cutting death, years and years ago. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but it was actually a combination of weight cutting and creatine. But does your club, or through your, I guess, experience, did you learn about how to cut weight properly?
Well, the funny thing is, back to my dad. My dad, he's kind of taught me how he's a big research guy.
Hmm.
So he did all the research possible that he could do for me. back when I was like maybe a junior or like grade 12 in high school. And he wanted to make sure that I was cutting the weight properly and that I wasn't doing it the wrong way and I wasn't super depleted. So he always did the research to see the proper ways and the best ways to cut and diet. So he kind of taught me how to do it properly.
Mhm. Okay, so I know that you won the U23 this year. You talked about the previous year. If I saw it right on your Instagram, it says four-time national champion.
Yeah, 4 time.
Four-time. What was it like? Let's go back to that first national championships. It may be long ago. I don't know. Obviously, 4 years, maybe
Yeah.
maybe longer. But let's go back to that time and frame in your life, and tell me how you approached that, and then how you handled the I guess the winning afterwards.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a long time. I think I was a cadet. That was my first year as a cadet.
Mhm.
I think I was like 48 kilos or something. I was very light. I was completely different weight class. But no, yeah, it was definitely it was again like it was expected. Like I put in a lot of hard work, so I was expecting to win. But it was definitely surreal. Like it was kind of it was nice to feel like the achievement, like all the hard work's kind of starting to pay off. It was nice, but it was more of a motivation, I would say, for me to train even harder because I was like, I'm already there. Now I need to try to be on the world stage. I want to medal on the world stage, so it motivated me to train even harder.
And as a cadet, was there world championships once you won the nationals?
There was, but my dad never sent me because again, it was like it would have been like 2 grand to go to the world. So my dad thought it'd be a better idea to send me out to the U.S. for the whole summer and train in the U.S. all summer and work on my technique and improve. And then once I became like a junior or under 23, then it could be time to send me to the world championships. But before that, he thought it would be the better idea to always send me up to camps and train in the US all summer rather than paying 2 grand for maybe 1 or 2 matches at the world championships.
Sounds like a smart man.
Yeah, I agree.
Fiscally responsible as well. I can tell you my background, majority, I went to school in the States, training down in the States. The collegiate style, I did folk style wrestling at Fresno City College, and then up in Michigan as well. I had a blast, and I found the training to be pretty intense. How did you find the training when you were going to stateside?
Okay, so the thing is, I trained with a guy named Sammie Henson. I don't know if you know Sammie Henson.
Yes, I know who
He
you
is
talk.
it doesn't get much more intense than that guy. He
Yep.
would I'm really good buddies with his son Wyatt Henson and Jackson Henson, the whole family. I was very lucky they took me in kind of as like part of their family. Every summer I would go live with them and train with them and I would travel wherever Sammie Henson would go. But yeah, no, he was very intense. Like he would push us to our limits every day. He'd scream at us, he'd throw stuff at us. Just he wanted us to get better, right? So he would always push us to our limits, and I'm very grateful for all the hours he put into us.
Yeah, I remember his, and I think my dad had these videos of Sammie Henson. This is back in the day. I don't even know if you're pretty young. You may not even know what VHS is.
Oh yeah,
VHS tapes. Wasn't the internet wasn't available. It was tapes or DVDs. I think it might have been DVDs, but Sammy had DVDs through USA Wrestling, and that's where I know his name. And then I started watching him, wrestle whenever we could. But tough kid. What weight class was he? Do you remember?
he wrestled 55 kilos, I believe.
Yeah,
55 kilos. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it was awesome. He would make us the camps. He'd take us to a military base. Like the
Hmm.
camp, he took us to a military base, and there's like these military hills, like the deep that they did military training on, right? And we're all like 14, 15-year-old kids. So he would take us there and he would make us do sprints and buddy carries and all that type of stuff up this big, very big, steep sand hill, almost like a mountain. So it was awesome. We have so many crazy stories and memories with him, but yeah, no, he always pushed us to our limits. It was awesome.
Hmm. Pushing through your limits. That's one of the things that I think is a common theme with wrestling. A lot of coaches will push you through your limits if they're good coaches. You are currently training with the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club. That's
Yeah.
been historically, it's been a tough, tough university. There are a few tough universities for wrestling, or not university, but clubs in Canada for wrestling, and that's one of them. I can remember them being tough back in my era as well. Who is the coaching staff that you're working with currently?
My main coaches are Raj Verdi and Frank Menza,
Mhm.
and Dave McKay as well. They always push me. It's not an easy room, that's for sure. They hold me accountable. There's no easy practices.
Explain to me what holding you accountable is.
Well, they like if I'm doing something wrong or I'm not wrestling up to my expectations at a practice or I'm holding back, they'll always be on me and let me know about it and give me an earful.
When's the last time you had an earful?
Uh, pretty often. Yeah, probably last practice.
Well, that's good to hear because I guess if they're talking, they're caring, right? And that's what
Yeah,
you
no.
need is a coaching staff that cares, right? Because I mean, they can sit in the back, do nothing, and I can tell you, I've actually had experience where I've seen kids programs where the coaches are sitting back, and just kind of I'm the coach, and I'm not going to get involved unless I have to. And it's pretty neat to see or to hear, and that's probably why they have a lot of success because they're on the wrestlers. They're breaking down their technique. They can tell when you're having a bad day, or they can tell when you need to be pushed.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're very hands on, and I'm very lucky to have a coach like Raj Verdi. He's always there. He's always there helping me. Same with Frank. Always there coming in at like 7 a.m. for morning practice to help us with technique, and I'm very, very grateful.
Are they grinding in with you guys? Are they wrestling with you as well, or are they just?
Sometimes Raj, he's always wrestling around with Justina and Anna and all those girls. Like he gets in there, still he rolls around with them.
Mhm. Yep. So he's still training. That's good
Oh yeah,
because once you
Frank
get to a
too.
certain age,
Frank too.
you
Yeah,
drop off.
yeah. They're still there. Maybe they're making a comeback for 2028. Who knows?
Oh wow. Well, and what is your goals this upcoming year?
Well, I want to win the Pan Am Championships in June this month, so the 22nd. I want to win that. I'd like to medal at the World Championships, but the main goal obviously is to be an Olympian, 2028.
Mhm. So you set yourself that goal 2028. That's Los Angeles, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Um, the process. What are how are you breaking that down? You said you want to medal at the Pan Am's.
No, I want to win. I want to win the Pan
You
Ams.
want to win them. Okay, so
Yeah.
what are you doing to push yourself to that level? That's different
Just
from usual.
you just train every day, train as hard as I can, push myself to my limits, get ready mentally, prepare, visualize, just visualize winning that Pan Am gold.
Mhm. Now, when you get pushed to your limits, what is your limit? Like, what is it? You're just fatigue and like when?
Uh my limit, I don't know, my limit, yeah, just fatigue, just gassed out, like where you can't wrestle anymore. You feel so tired, like you can't even get in your stance properly. You're just getting taken down.
So complete exhaustion. It's just that's what you're talking about, and then the
Yeah.
mental aspect. Because I know, when I boxed, because I did a little bit of boxing, but part of it was, the mental aspect. You got to be able to match the two, the mental aspect and the fatigue. You got to sometimes you do have more in you, but your brain will say, you know what, I ain't doing this. What do you do to get past that mental hurdle to kind of say, you know what, I got more in me?
See, that's where my coaches come in, like Raj Verde. Like he knows my limit and he knows where I can push through it. And when I'm super tired and I'm getting slow to get up, he'll always be there to get me, to push me, to get me to keep going and motivate me and to push me to push through my limits.
Mhm. Now, what does he do? Just yell at you, or does he come in there and start wrestling you and giving you a shake?
Yeah, He yells at me, but he yells at me with motivating words and stuff like that, right? It's all positive. It's all positivity. There's no negativity, right? So he's telling me the right things that I need to hear in the moment.
Hmm. That's good. So goal setting, you stated a few of your goals. How are you going to accomplish some of those goals? Is there anything you've changed in your training since the U23 championships? Because now you're
Well,
saying,
now I started training with a strength and conditioning coach. His name's Ibby. He's New Edge Alliance. He's very good. He knows his stuff. So I'm training with him like 3 days a week. But everything else is the same. Just put your head down and work. Nothing changes.
what? So with strength and conditioning, that's my forte. I love that stuff. What are you doing in? Because there's going to be people that are going to be watching this. They're going to be looking at you, and like it or not, there's people that want to be just like you. You know, some other younger wrestlers. Some people don't want to be role models, but they're going to want to watch this, and they're going to want to know what you're doing in the gym. What have you changed? You know, are you doing this? You know, the traditional bench press squats, or are you doing other things when it comes to strength training?
Right now we kind of just started. This is I think gonna be my second workout, but he doesn't really we don't really do traditional like bench press and squats. All this does more like Olympic lifts, like explosive stuff, right? We're working on explosive strength right now, like snatches, power cleans, all that stuff.
Power cleans were my favorite exercises. When I first started doing those, my shoulders just exploded. This guy, everybody was commenting, "What the heck happened to your shoulders?" Like I had these traps just because of the power cleans. But I switched to power to hang cleans. As I got older, I had to switch just to hang because going down a little bit further for older people, it hurts a little more. So the power
Yeah.
cleans I have to start from the hang cleans now. Yeah, so you know, I'm glad to hear that you're not doing the traditional stuff because I've talked to experts and I've had experts on our podcast, Vern Gambetta, who trains Summer McIntosh. I'm not sure if you know who that name is or what that name is, but she's a swimmer with Canada.
Okay.
But Vern used to work with the 49ers. He used to work with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chicago Bulls. But one of the things he said is that the traditional stuff, the bench press, the squats, they don't work. They don't transfer to these sports. You have to find different ways of tweaking them. And I think the explosive stuff is what you're talking about. That's one of the ways of actually having that stuff transfer to you, because that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
You want your strength to, you know, to transfer to your wrestling. I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you could bench press 600 pounds in the gym, but if you're not strong in wrestling positions, it doesn't mean anything.
Hmm. Well, I remember working. I'm going to tell the war story. Working as a bouncer years back, and I won't tell you how many. But you know, I was the wrestler, and there was this big juiced up guy there, and you know, he decided he wanted to challenge me. I made work of him pretty quickly, and he was just confused because, again, you know what? The strength really doesn't matter if it's all
Yeah.
show. You've got to actually, it's got to transfer into what you do. So I'm glad you're here and you're doing that. That's one of the things that you've done to improve your wrestling. Is there anything else that you're kind of, you know, keying on to as you approach the Pan Ams?
Just strength and conditioning, running, training. No, not really. Just my strength and my conditioning pretty much is the only thing that changes. Really, just ramp that up.
Hmm. How long do you go for runs? Because I will tell you, as a heavyweight, I hated that stuff.
We usually do sprints and stuff like that. So short distance, nothing really crazy long distance around the track. 400, 200, 100, all stuff like
Mhm.
that.
So you're doing sprints. Are you doing anything long distance?
Not really, more so just short distance stuff, just short distance bursts. But like we're doing those short distance bursts for quite a while.
And who is that under? Is that under with your coach, your wrestling coaches, or that strength trainer?
Strength trainer slash my dad.
Dad's still got his hand in the pocket,
Oh
right? I
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
I love it. You
Yeah.
know, we live vicariously through our children, and well, you know, because you know, I was thinking about that this morning. Like, you know, I'm watching my kid play football. I'm watching them swim, and you know, we're hoping for the best, and we want to get involved. Has there
Yeah.
ever been a part where like you're kind of like dad, like because I did this with my dad. You know, like back off. You know, you need to back off at this point. Was there any point where you know you maybe had to, hey, dad, you know what? Let's not go there today.
No, my dad's always been pretty. He's been super hands on, but I like it. You know, you need a push like that. It's been good, right? But he's never been too much. He's definitely bordered the line, but he's never been too much. He's been good.
He, he knows the boundaries.
Yeah, he
Well,
knows his boundaries.
yeah, I guess from years of growing up with the teenager in the house, he would probably figure that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple other things I want to chat about because with the sport, injuries and when wrestlers get some pretty bad injuries. How do you handle injuries, especially if you're training for a high level competition?
For me, I've been pretty lucky so far. Like I haven't had any super serious injuries, but like knock on wood. But yeah, no, I've been pretty good with injury prevention. But big thing for me is I always stretch. Like I'm a big stretching guy. So like before and after every practice, I make sure I get my stretches in. I get my body loose. I roll out. I do all that stuff. But if we do get an injury, we're also very lucky here at Burnaby Mountain. We have an amazing physio that helps us out for free. His name's Vic at. I I forget the name of his. I'm pretty sure. I think it's. I forget the name of it. I forget the name of his practice. It's blank
Uh,
on me, but but
well,
it's
you know what? A big shout out to Vic, anyways. So,
Vic. Yeah, big shout out to Vic and Neil. They help
yeah,
us out all the time. Like, so we ever have any injuries or anything, they just tell us to text him, and then they'll get us in whenever they can. They'll help us out, and always free. They never charge us or anything, so they're the real MVPs for sure.
nice. Glad to hear that. Good support system going on there. That's how champions are made. They have to be well rounded, right? With one, exercise programs, coaching staff, also preventative measures as well. What about mindset? How do you produce that championship mindset?
For me lately, I've been really visualizing like the tournaments and winning and just like how the tournament's gonna go in general. I feel like that's really helped us. So because if you can visualize it, you can usually bring it into existence. So that's been really helping me out. Visualization, stuff like that.
I like that. I remember one of the things when a good friend of mine is Randy Couture. I don't know if you know that
Oh
name,
yeah,
but
legend.
Randy used to when we talked about the octagon. One of the things that he used to do is he would actually, before each UFC that he was in, he would actually go into the octagon when the crowd wasn't there, and he would take and walk through it, and he would visualize, himself in different spots in the octagon.
Yeah,
Because he wanted to be there in those positions before, and he didn't want to be shocked. So he'd visualize himself on his back, fighting out of, off the floor to the cage. So he would put himself in those spots, because sometimes when he would say, sometimes when I was in those spots, um, early on in the career, you would recognize that I've never been here. I kind of panic. So if you put yourself in those spots, visualize it. And I think some people don't understand that. Maybe people that are maybe listening and kind of just taking that in there, they don't have an athletic background. If you do that visualizing portion, it can prepare you or give you a better process when you're in the sport competitive realm there.
yeah. No, it's a major help. I found it helped out my game big time. I feel like it's just such a minor thing, right? You wouldn't think visualizing like the venue or how it's going to look or how it's going to be would change anything, but it actually makes you feel way more comfortable, and it helps you out big time. It's a game changer for sure.
Why did you get into visualization?
Well, with me and my good buddy Nishan Randall, we would always travel all over the U.S. We would go to like the best colleges in the country. Like we were at Penn State, we were at Penn RTC with like guys like Jordan Burroughs and all those guys, and we always noticed like all the super high level guys. They would always visualize like the tournament and their matches, and they would always be visualizing them winning and stuff, right? So I figured, I mean, if guys like Jordan Burroughs and David Taylor, these guys are doing it, it must be working, right? So I thought I'd try it myself as well, and it's been doing wonders for me.